Hi everyone, welcome to Court.
Oh.
Yeah, I'm proficient in slate. Hi everyone, welcome to GameGorgon. My name's Indigo.
And I'm Krug.
And today we're going to be talking about the fighter. Fighters are pretty badass.
They are.
Like they are probably one of the simpler of the classes, but in their simplicity, I find them complicated.
The fighter doesn't get a whole bunch of stuff as... Oh, it's the Pathfinder book. Hi. Nobody saw that. There aren't a ton of class features for the fighter that are terribly compelling or interesting. The fighter is basically just feats. As a matter of fact, the most interesting class feature, I'd say, is just a cool way to get feats.
Yeah.
It's all feats. So we're going to go over that really quick. The front stuff. No.
Yeah, the front stuff.
We're going to go over the class features really quick so that we get it like out there and on the table. And then at the end, because we don't think that's going to take very long and it's not going to be very interesting, we're going to go over feats so that we can talk about some of the cool feats.
Some of them.
We're not going to go over all of the feats.
So before we go into that, let's just go over the proficiencies. There are a couple of cool things that fighters get. They do have a choice of strength or dexterity for their keys.
Mandatory.
Yeah, absolutely. For your skills, you can choose to either be proficient in acrobatics or athletics.
Okay.
Kind of goes with that.
Strength, dexterity choice.
Exactly. Past that, you're an expert, not just trained in simple and martial weapons, and you're trained in some sort of advanced weapon. And you're also expert in unarmed attacks.
Look forward to our monk video where I complain about not being the best at unarmed attacks. At level 1, you're going to get Attack of Opportunity. I don't know if we've had the opportunity to mention this yet, but Attack of Opportunity isn't something that every character can do anymore.
Correct.
It's something that you have to get. And so Fighter just gets at level 1 from their class. Same as Paladin, I think. Champion!
It's a little bit different than what most people perceive attacks of opportunity, because most people view attacks of opportunity like D&D, where it's like once they move out of your attack range, that's when you can attack them. If they leave a square, if they make a ranged attack or make anything with like the manipulate trait.
Yeah.
So any of those will actually provoke an attack of opportunity.
Right.
Which is super cool. Also at first level, you're going to get your first fighter feat. You're going to get this at first level and then every even level thereafter.
This is great because you've effectively gotten an extra feat. Most classes have to wait till level 2 to get their first class feat, right?
Exactly.
At level 1, you're also going to get Shield Block. This is another reaction that you can use in combat. It is just a way to prevent damage with your shield. We've talked about it, I think, briefly in the Paladin video, but it's on
Champion.
Screen. Son of a it's never going to stop. We're going to be skipping skill feats, general feats, ability boosts because they're the same across the board. They're in the show notes if you don't know them. Link in the description. I guess I should say that.
At level 3, you're going to get Bravery, which is going to change your will save up to an expert. And then whenever you make a save against a fear effect and you make a success, it's actually considered to be a critical success. And then whenever you have the frightened condition, the value decreases by 1.
Yes. And I don't see minimum 1.
No.
So I think if you get frightened 1, you're just not frightened. You're immune to frightened 1. I actually wasn't super on board with this because like a will save against a fear effect specifically, and I was like, but then at the end they added, if you do have a fear effect applied, its value is reduced by 1, and now I'm like, yes, on board. At 5th level, you get Fighter Weapon Mastery. Now you're gonna choose a weapon group, some examples of which are on the screen. I recommend the Brawling group.
Do you know?
Not for fighters, no. Your proficiency with simple and martial weapons in that group is going to go up to master, and your proficiency with advanced weapons in that group is going to go to expert. That's a lot of different weapons, regardless of the group that you pick, I think.
Sure.
You're also going to gain the critical specialization effect for every weapon with which you have master proficiency. Oodles and oodles of weapons. It's a stick with a sharp part. Like, what do you mean? Why can I use it?
It's a stick with a sharp part. Now, do I swing it or do I shoot it? That's options, like ranged weaponry is...
The monk's just like... Wait, is this a spear? That's an arrow.
I know I catch these, but what do I do with them afterwards? At 7th level, you're going to get Battlefield Surveyor.
Yes.
Your proficiency in perception is going to go up to mastery. This is the cool thing.
I kissed a little too soon.
Yeah, I was like, oh, okay. The cool thing about this is the fact that if this is a perception check that is for initiative specifically, you get a +2 to it.
At level 7, you're going to get weapon specialization. This is flat damage based on your proficiency with the weapon that you're using.
Wow, that was fast. Now, at 9th level, we're getting the thing that makes this class really cool.
Yeah,
but okay, the non-choice based things, like your feats are going to make...
Your class feats make you great. This is the thing that you mandatorily use that is also great. Oh, we're teasing you, sorry.
So this is combat flexibility.
Yes.
In your daily preparations, you can choose a feat of 8th level or lower and just gain it for that day.
Yes, you have to meet its prerequisites still.
Yes.
You can't just be like, oh, I'm going to take the... No, you have to meet all of its prerequisites,
yes.
not just some. So if it requires you to have a lower level feat, you have to have that feat. If it requires you to be wielding whatever, you have to wield that whatever in order to use it. But as long as you meet all those things, you can use it for the day until you prep again. And then, and this is the part, you can pick a different feat the next time you prep. Every time you prep, you can pick a different feat.
Yeah.
Which is like, mwah, mwah, mwah. That is the pinnacle of flexibility.
What I really like about this is that it brings kind of, and hear me out, it brings a little bit of the flavor of a wizard into this. And the reason I'm saying that is because most fighters, stereotypical, you're just like, I'm going to run in and I'm going to swing and I'm going to kill things because that's what I do, right? But adding the combat flexibility kind of pushes the fighter to be like, well, let's figure out what's going on. Let me figure out what's going to be best for us so that I can use this ability better.
Do I need to be better at ranged attacks because we're going to be in a wide open field, or are we going into a dungeon where the corridors are this narrow? Like a shield and a sword, I need to take some feats that make me better with those things. The wizard can do that with the spellbook.
Each day they're like, oh, well, we're going to a poison area, gonna get some anti-poison stuff.
And then like the healers can do that, and there's a ton of versatility there, and the fighter, you're right, is normally not able to, and this lets them do that.
This ability is actually going to improve on 15th level. You're going to get improved flexibility, where you're going to be not only get your 8th level feat, but you're also going to be able to get a 14th level or lower feat. You can use the 8th level or lower feat to actually be the prerequisite for your 14th level or lower feat. That aspect of it, the 8th and the 14th, you literally can change the type of combatant you are completely.
Incredible Ricochet is a really awesome ranged feat that you wouldn't like normally be able to pick up if you didn't have the prerequisite Incredible Aim, but with this you can literally pick up Incredible Aim and Incredible Ricochet just in the morning, as though you were grabbing some tomatoes from the store. It's the kind of like tradesman who's good at so many different tools, and they're like, have I used this before? And they picks it up and thunk, and it just like sticks exactly in the middle of a target, and he's like, oh yeah, I remember how to do this. Like, I got this. At level 9, you transform from the to the Juggernaut. No?
No.
At level 9, you get Juggernaut.
Bitch.
Your Fortitude save is going to increase to Master, and when you roll a success with the Fortitude save, it's going to be a critical success instead.
At 11th level, you're going to get Armor Expertise, which is going to increase your proficiency in all armor, including unarmored defense, to Proficiency of Expert. This is the key to it, though. With medium and heavy armor, you're going to get the armor specialization like traits to it, which is super cool.
They're really good. Like, if you haven't looked through them, because I know we talk about the weapon ones a lot, but we only talked about the armor ones in one other video. I think it was the champion. They're good. You should definitely...
You said champion.
All right, thanks, man. I'm learning.
But I think this kind of is a PSA that we had mentioned before, which is read the traits.
Yeah, every trait and specialization effect, know them.
And especially as a fighter.
At level 11, you get Fighter Expertise. This is going to increase your fighter class DC to Expert. At 13th level, you're going to get Weapon Legend. This is early. For something that has the word legend in it. First things first, your simple and martial weapon proficiency is going to increase to Master. Across the board, which is cool. Your proficiency rank for advanced weapons across the board is going to increase to Expert.
So it's just, all of the things from the beginning is just moving up
one.
Yeah,
And then, just like before, you're going to select one weapon group, and you're going to have legendary proficiency with simple and martial weapons in that group. And you're also going to have master proficiency for advanced weapons in that group. Baseline, you have access to advanced weapons, which I've yet to see in a class. And that's a fighter unique thing so far. And you are just as good at those advanced weapons as most characters are at weapons in general. You're just like really good at weapons, and then you pick and hone and find your like specialty until like you've reached legendary in this one specific group of weapons.
Level 15, we're going to get evasion, where your proficiency and reflex saves are going to go up to master, and when you make a success, it's considered to be a critical success.
Nice. Level 15, you get greater weapon specialization. Your weapon specialization numbers go up.
Level 17, you're going to get armor mastery, where your proficiency in all armor as well as unarmored defense is going to go up to master.
Nice. At level 19, you're going to get versatile legend. This is going to make you crazy.
You're level 19, it should.
That's true. Your proficiency with simple, martial, and unarmed attacks are all gonna go up to legendary, which is sick. And then across the board, again, your proficiency with advanced weapons is going to go up to master, which is also sick. And then lastly, your proficiency for your class DC is going to go up to master. So this is just like tons of proficiency increases.
Hey, just add all of those numbers.
It's so much proficiency increasing. Something I don't really like about this is that it's kind of overlapping with weapon legend a little bit.
Okay.
For the group that you selected for weapon legend. It's kind of like all of the other weapons proficiency is catching up. Like if you really just wanted the weapon legend group that you picked to be like your thing and you don't want to use other stuff, this doesn't do much for you actually.
Sure.
Okay, the class DC does. But aside from that, like with the weapon proficiency stuff, it's not really giving you much of anything.
Yeah, it's just basically like, hey, cool, now you were better at that weapon first. It's really pushing the fighter to be the Swiss Army knife.
Yes.
Where it's just like, cool, what do we need? A sword. What do we need? A hammer. What do we need? A bow. Cool, I can do all of those things.
Exactly. And that is, I'm not trying to knock the fact that that is incredibly useful to be that Swiss Army knife. You have to keep that in mind as your character. Like if your character is allergic to ranged weapons or something, that you're hindering the fighter's capability to do to have the strength that it is built into the class. It is versatile. It needs to have the freedom to explore any weapon that is a solution to the specific problem at hand, instead of being the kind of person that's like, I only use X. Because I built those characters before and they're fun for certain reasons, but for this, I wouldn't.
For the way that the fighter is built, I'm actually really looking forward to William playing their fighter, because like that's a really big aspect of it. They're really focused on what they have right now because it's limited with the amount of gold.
Yeah.
As soon as you start doing treasure, as soon as you start doing that stuff, it's like, cool, I do need this
I can
axe.
use that, yeah.
Oh, yeah. I definitely need this other thing.
Well, it's funny because nobody else in the group cares.
Yeah. Because it's like, you're unarmored. We have the druid, which does not care. And then we have a sorcerer who's just going to be like, yeah, cool, I'm good.
Yeah. William's going to get every single piece of equipment.
Yeah.
Like we promised, we're going to go over some class feats now. These are things that you can pick as you level up. Remember, you start picking them at level 1, and then you get an additional feat every even numbered level thereafter. We've already said that in the thing. I just needed some way to introduce this, and so I reminded you. First feat we're going to talk about is level 1, power attack. This is going to cost 2 actions. You unleash a particularly powerful attack that clobbers your foe, but leaves you a bit unsteady. Make a melee strike. This counts as 2 attacks when calculating your multiple attack penalty. If this strike hits, you deal an extra die of weapon damage. If you're at least 10th level, increase this to 2 extra die. If you're at least 18th level, increase it to 3 extra die. Okay, this is pretty cool because not a lot of feats scale with level, especially if you're using really big weapons, which is, I think, what power attack is supposed to, like, feel like.
Sure, I don't know if there's any prerequisites.
Nope, no prerequisites at all.
It's first level.
It's fighter and flourish. Flourish means you can only use it once per round.
Yeah, I think having an agile weapon actually might be better, since you're having to deal with the penalty of having 2 attacks.
Yeah, well, that's only if you use your 3rd action to make a 3rd attack. If you use power attack as your first action, you're making it with no penalty.
You're just like, cool, here's my hammer, bye, there's your face.
If you didn't guess, I'm going to pick shield feats because I like shields in this game. I'm going to pick Reactive Shield. It is a reaction, clearly, and it is triggered when you are hit with a melee attack and you are wearing a shield.
Okay.
Reasonable, right?
Yeah. I mean, if you're taking this feat and you don't wear a shield, unless you're, like, surprised.
Yeah.
No,
I'm with you. You can snap your shield into place just as you would take a blow, avoiding the hit at the last second. You immediately use the raise a shield action and you gain the shield's bonus to AC. The circumstance bonus from the shield applies to your AC when you're determining the outcome of the triggering attack. The trigger is when an enemy hits you with a melee attack, not when an enemy targets you with a melee attack. So you get to wait to use this until after you've calculated whether or not the attack hits you, and then you can decide, well, actually, I'm going to raise my shield at the last second, and then redo that calculation because now you have +2 to your AC, unless for some reason, like, you don't. Let's just say most of the time, this is going to successfully give you +2 to your AC.
Yeah.
Which is super cool.
Well, yeah, that's the kind of benefit, because you're just like, okay, cool. What did they roll? All right, that's 1 above my AC. I can just pop this guy.
Exactly.
All right, we're going to use this. I'm going to use my reaction to just block it and be done with it.
Now, what it doesn't let you do is it doesn't let you use shield block then. Because that would be the damage reduction part of a shield, but since you've used your reaction to Reactive Shield, maybe they have another reaction that's triggered by your reaction that allows them to, like, re-roll the attack or something. I don't know. It's just a guess.
Yeah.
Fighters also have something called a stance. A stance is a general combat strategy that you enter by using an action with the stance trait, and you remain in for some time. A stance lasts until you get knocked out, until its requirements, if any, are violated, or until the encounter ends, or until you enter a new stance, whichever comes first. After you take an action with the stance trait, you can't take another for 1 round. You can enter or be in any stance only in an encounter mode. The same thing as a monk stance. Actually, we haven't released a monk video, so that doesn't make sense for people that have only watched our contents.
As they've come out?
Yeah.
Because monk happens after fighter.
Yeah. My bad. I'm going to give an example of the stance, and then I'm going to delete that part of the video.
Okay.
This is disarming stance. It costs 1 action, and you have to be trained in athletics.
Okay.
You can also only be wielding a single-handed weapon. You must have your other hand free. You adopt a fencing stance that improves your control over your weapon. While you're in this stance, you gain a +1 circumstance bonus to athletic checks to disarm, and a +2 circumstance bonus to your reflex DC when defending against checks to disarm you. In addition, you can attempt to disarm creatures up to 2 sizes larger than you. Kind of niche-y.
If you've got that combat flexibility,
Yep.
right? And
True.
You're normally a shield wearer, and in the situation you're like, we got to disarm this guy. We're having difficulty. You're just like, cool. I throw down my shield and I move into this stance.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the thing about this class, is that you can put as many super niche feats in here as you want, because I can switch between them basically at will. I don't mind anything in this class being specific. At level 10, you get something that I consider to be the memeiest feat in the entire book.
Okay.
It's literally Legend of Zelda.
Okay.
It's called Mirror Shield, so come on. It's a reaction. It's a level 10 feat. It's triggered by an opponent casting a spell that targets you, critically failing a spell attack roll against your AC. You also have to have your shield raised. You reflect the spell back at the triggering opponent. Make a ranged attack against the triggering creature using your highest proficiency with ranged weapons. If you can cast spells, you make a spell attack roll instead. If you succeed, your opponent takes the effects of a successful spell attack roll for their own spell, or the effects of a critical success if your attack roll was a critical success. You're just gonna cast the spell at them. There's no like, oh, but this doesn't happen, or this doesn't.
Mind you, like, it sounds very strong, but I'm with you. Like, the amount of things that that have to go right. This is one of those you're like, this happens once, maybe every like 5 gaming sessions, where it's like, oh, they critically failed at their attack against you, and you're like, cool. I remember that one feat I
Okay, now we're gonna talk about a World of Warcraft feat brought into Pathfinder 2nd Edition. It's called Whirlwind Strike. It takes 3 actions, and afterwards you vomit.
You have to roll a 42.
Yeah, to not vomit. That's not real. We'll read it to you. You attack all nearby adversaries. Make a melee strike against each enemy within your melee reach. Each attack counts towards your multiple attack penalty, but do not increase your penalty until you have made all of your attacks. So you spend 3 actions, and then, assuming this is the first attack you've made, just 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0 for your penalty across the board. This is really fucking cool. I like that a bunch.
I like it a lot. There's just a lot of
a layering you can do.
Again, I think we said this in the very beginning. It's a very simple class, but in its simplicity,
there's complexity.
Makes it really complicated.
And we would be a little bit rude if we didn't end with a capstone. So we're going to talk about Boundless Reprisals. This is a level 20 feat. With a 6th sense for the flow of combat, you can quickly react to any situation as required. At the start of each enemy's turn, you gain a reaction that you can use only during that turn. You gain a reaction per enemy. That is unspeakably strong, especially against, like, if you are a melee fighter fighting against a group of melee enemies and they're just around you. Okay, I'm gonna attack the fighter. Cool, the fighter attacks you back. I'm gonna attack the fighter. Cool, the fighter attacks you back. I'm gonna attack the fighter. Cool, it attacks you back. Okay, cool, now it's the fighter's turn. Whirlwind Strike. The fighter attacks all of you.
Well, and then not only that, even if you want to be a defensive one, like, right, you've got your reactions that you can turn around. You're like, cool, I'm going to do the Swift Shield thing, where it's like, cool, +2 to my AC, +2 to my AC. Cool. Oh, cool, great, cool. Like, literally, it's just like, I just take no damage, and then now I'm on a whirlwind attack.
See, but here's the thing. You go through all that. You're like, ping, blocking all this stuff. Your shield's going to break.
Yeah.
And then it falls to the ground, and then everyone's like, cool, we got him. And then you pull out your second shield. That would just be the best moment in a role-playing game.
That's when you get into your fencing position.
Oh, sure! And then they run at you, and you Whirlwind Strike, disarm all of them somehow. I don't know if those two things stack. Don't take my word for it. It's just, there's so many cool possibilities here. This is a great class. If you think that because this class is lacking class features, it is boring, you are wrong.
Yeah.
This class is... It's one of the best implementations of a fighter that I've seen. It takes something that should be very boring and makes it fucking awesome.
Now, there's always the stereotypical, human fighter.
Yeah.
Human
fighter's great. You get an extra feat, and then an extra another feat, and then an extra another feat. That's so many feats. I would play the shit out of that. What are the chances we can add another fighter to Court of Corvids? Okay, if my monk dies.
Speaking of Court of Corvids, August 28th, Wednesday at 6:30 p.m. That's our first episode that we're going to be airing. It's going to be on Twitch. It was originally going to be on YouTube, but then I realized since we're pre-recording the first 2 episodes, you can't do a pre-record live to YouTube. Yeah. So
we could do premieres, but you'd hate us for that.
Yeah, because then you get so many notifications to tell you that something is going to happen later.
I mean, okay, like, let us know in the comments. Like, if, there's a comment in there that says, do a premiere, and it has, 100 upvotes. I might be like, maybe you should do a premiere. It's up to you. Let us know.
Either way, we're pre-recording our first 2 episodes
Yes.
tomorrow, and it's going to be, our first episode is going to be live on August 28th.
Yes.
Catch it there. It's going to go up on YouTube afterwards, so if you can't make it live. If you do go live, I will be watching live while it's going, so I'll be interacting with the audience. The first 2 episodes, the only 2 episodes that we're going to really have that opportunity, because we're going to go live after that with everyone. But until then, why don't you head down in the comments and let us know. I guess the question you had is about whether or not you want us to do a premiere. Please say no. I want to hear your builds for your fighter. I want to know.
This is like the place to shine with builds. If you have a build for a martial class, it will work here in one way or another.
Yeah, there's been a ton of you joining the Discord and been talking and hanging out and talking about builds and talking about. There's a ton of really great artwork that people have been dropping in. I love the artwork and I love the stories of people's gameplay that they've been doing. So come in. I want to hear about it all. Do that. Go and talk to me on Twitter. Yeah. My Twitter account is @IndigoQT.
And my Twitter account, I don't know why you said that way, is @CrewQT. And you can talk to both of us at all these social media things down here. Hopefully, because I am at the location where the file that is supposed to be here is, I will have that file and I will actually be pointing at something instead of just the table. Motherfucking, I hate technology. I do it for a living. It's the worst. Anyways, we've been GameGorgon. We'll see you guys next time when we talk about the...
You fall onto the ground a little bit, and you're like,
I'll go down with you. I'm like, oh my god, shut up.